believe it's true.
And all be seated. I'm just going to ask, who blesses these people to get married?
We do.
You do? All right.
Yes,
All
of us do.
room. Well, I just want to thank everybody for coming out, and I'm honored to be here. Y'all keep thanking me, but I just want to thank y'all. Amen. So, a lot of people will describe marriage as a contract. And whereas the state of Texas may recognize it that way, I like to remind people that it's not a contract, it's a covenant. Contracts are promises, and promises can be broken. The definition of a covenant is a binding and solemn agreement. You know, being married is a blessing, and it's something that the Lord has given us as a gift. When we marry, that is a direct image. It's a reflection of what Christ has always wanted to do with us. I wanted to do something special with you guys tonight. Ephesians talks about how a man should love his wife and how a woman should love her husband. And it's a direct illustration of how Christ is with the church. But I wanted to read this passage a little bit differently than the way it's presented in the Bible and make it a little more personal for you. And so I've just gone through and inserted your names where it says husband or wife or things like that. So Ephesians 5:21 through 29. Submit to one another out of reverence for Christ. Hannah, submit yourself to Lance as you do to the Lord. Lance is the head of you, as Christ is the head of the church, his body, of which he is the Savior. And now as the church submits to Christ, so also should you submit to Lance in everything. Lance, love Hannah, just as Christ loved the church and gave himself up for her, to make her holy, cleansing her by the washing with water through the word, and to present her to himself as a radiant church, without stain or wrinkle or any other blemish, but holy and blameless. In this same way you ought to love Hannah as your own body. He who loves his wife loves himself. After all, no one ever hated their own body, but they feed and care for their body, just as Christ does the church. You both have such a beautiful opportunity ahead of you to serve one another and to care for one another and to protect one another. And if you'll always look at it that way, then it immediately places you in a position where you feel the need to serve each other instead of fight each other. You feel the need to place each other above one another. And when you're constantly doing that, that's what builds that trust. That's what builds that hope and that faith and that love to push your marriage further and further. I've known you for a while, Lance, but I've known Hannah for a long time. And it feels just like yesterday that I was her youth pastor, talking about the importance of why we should choose the right person and let God bless that relationship. Mm-hmm. And I remember specifically an illustration that I gave her youth group, and so I'll tell you now. I had the students mix together 2 bottles of Gatorade, 2 completely different flavors. And boy, they had fun with it. Mm-hmm. And then at the end I asked them, okay, now place each flavor back in its own bottle. And it was, you could hear a pin drop in there. Wait, that's impossible. And that is the illustration of what this marriage is that God is joining you two as one. He has picked 2 amazing flavors, and he has joined them together. And if you will look at it that way, that God has joined you, then just like that illustration, anyone who tries to separate you anything that tries to separate you. It literally is impossible. If you would, take each other's rings into your hands. Lance, if you would, take Hannah's hand and place a ring on her finger. And repeat after me. I, Lance, take you, Hannah, to be my wedded husband, or to be my to have and to hold from this day forward, for better or for worse, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, to love and to cherish, till death do us part. Hannah, if you would take Lance's ring and place it on his finger, and repeat after me. I, Hannah, take you, Lance, to be my wedded husband,
To be my wedded husband.
to have and to hold,
To have and to hold
from this day forward,
from this day forward.
for better or for worse,
For better or for worse.
for richer or for poorer,
For richer or for poorer.
in sickness and in health,
In sickness and in health.
to love and cherish,
To love and cherish.
till death do us part.
Till death do us part.
Matthew 19:6 says, so they are no longer two, but one flesh. Therefore, what God has joined together, let no one separate. So, by the power invested in you by Jesus, I'm just going to draw this.
No!
Hey, Jenny, you remember that one time? Recognized by the Lord Jesus, I now pronounce you husband and wife, and you may kiss your bride.
Yeah! Okay, that's enough.
All right, I got a room.
If you'll turn and face your family, for the first time ever, I present to you Mr. and Mrs. Lance Ginn.
I wasn't prepared.
Yeah,
I didn't know
toast to
what
loving and caring and happy marriage.
Hey, you're here.
You got the key to Hannah's heart now, and you have a key to my house.
Oh,
I love you. You don't have to ring the doorbell no more. You can just walk in.
You don't have to be recorded on the Ring doorbell anymore.
On the Ring doorbell anymore.
Hannah again. That's Hannah.
Apparently,
Still in love. Still in love. Still in love.